Hi, everyone. Welcome to 2021. This is Maureen Ryan Blake with the Power of the Tribe Network and Rising Star Book Club. Well, we've always been about best-selling authors, but for 2021, we've added an extra character, or maybe a few. Yes, now it's not only about authors and their pets. And this episode, we're going to lead in with Amy Riley and her cat, Fozzie Bear. Oh, yes, we still have amazing authors in their interviews too. Hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power of the Tribe Network. Well, I am thrilled because this is the first interview for 2021, and I cannot select anyone more powerful, more fabulous, and also is having a new book coming out March 3rd. So again, Amy Riley's with us today. Amy Riley she's just an extraordinary leader. We'll start with that. She's an author with her book coming out called The Courage of a Leader: Inspire, Engage, and Get Extraordinary Results. And that's what she does for her people and actually for her contribution in this world. So I'm absolutely thrilled. So again, she's a consultant, she's a coach, she's a speaker, she's a writer, she's an author. And yes, I say international bestsellers like on her horizon early this year. So here we go. Amy, welcome to the show. And I'm so glad to see you again. How are you, my friend? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Maureen. What a fantastic introduction. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Okay. Yeah, well, by the way, that is only a tip of the iceberg. So, and yeah, I am thrilled because, again, we're rolling into 2021 and we're rolling into change, and yet we're also we're feeling an energy that there's going to be a shift happening, and that for some really standing in their power all of this time during the pandemic, it's going to be a banner year. I can feel it. And again, sitting in your presence, you're one of those, again, another game changer. And yeah, I'm thrilled to start the year with you. So let's start so normally I get to meet extraordinary authors, but what's really neat is that we got to meet before this, connecting with a mutual respected colleague and extraordinary woman, Rebecca Hall-Kreider, on the Speaker Talent Show. So how did you even wind up stumbling into that? And what was that all about? And I know I was a judge, and I picked you right out, like, oh my God, this woman's extraordinary. How did you stumble in there?
It was from Rebecca. So RHG Publishing is the publisher of The Courage of a Leader. So I've been working with Rebecca and her team, and she let me know about that opportunity. And that's perfect. I don't want to wait until this book is written to start sharing the messages. So let's start getting some opportunities. And I'm so glad you were on the panel and we got connected that way.
It was really a great experience, being on the other side as well. And just, again, getting to continually allow yourself to be in a place of being and meet others, and allowing just for the opportunity of what will come, because that's when and that's the magic, and that's when things happen. And that's really absolutely the secret to success. Wouldn't you agree? Because your whole book is about the story of great leaders. And tell us about the book. Tell us about everything that's going on there, and we'll go back and forth. And yes.
I'm very excited that the book is making its way to all of you. It is in editing right now. We are almost done with the editing process. But I've been working with leaders at all levels for a couple of decades now. And it was just a couple of years ago, I really realized every time that I am inspired or touched, just impressed by a leader that I'm working with or observe, they are acting personally courageously, right? I mean, they are transforming in here in order to transform out there. They're putting it all on the line. They're unraveling what they had a part in creating so that they can create new things, new business models, new products, new solutions to meet their customers and future customers' needs. They're courageous to say, listen, I don't have all the answers. I need you. I need you for this. I need you for this. I need you for this. And recognize that they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses, right? And to put together a team that's diverse and brings different value to the table. I'm like, every time I'm impressed, there's courage there. And I'm like, I want to share those messages that it's not about robotically getting some leadership behaviors exactly right? It's much more about your being, like you're talking about, Maureen, your beliefs, your intentions, right? Because we get it, and people can see it if it's not lined up and you're not coming from positive intent.
Well, I love that. And okay, so let's unpack first of all the word courage, because
Okay.
and then that was really a when I was thinking about it, it's a big word. And yet when you broke it down into your 4 pillars, which we'll get into what that is, it really is, again, it's all about leadership. It's all about transformation. It's all about leading from generosity and leading outward and not being about you. But you really, I love the way that felt when we were all working to be the best we can be as we make our mark in this world and our legacy. So that word courage really, really just stood out for me. And I think it's a great word, and I haven't seen it before in that. So I thought it was really, really fabulous. So let's go into, so what is that? Because courage, you would think, is someone that, like Susan Nance, who's climbing her mountains and stuff, and she's got courage, right? And yet it's also about the not spoken and the quiet, who are letting it happen because they're committed to their leadership. And that was so really beautiful. I don't have another word that's coming, but it really was just, and it was supportive in so many ways to be recognized that way, with all of these leaders that do it not for themselves, but do it for their vision.
Yes.
Let's lean into that.
Yeah. Well, a couple sentences ago, Maureen, you used the word legacy. And it's one of the first concepts introduced in the book. What is your leadership legacy? Right. And I think courage is about declaring what that leadership legacy is, for each and every one of us doing that. And then have the courage to look to the legacy. Right. And our legacy could be anything. It could be, I bring ERP systems to every organization I'm with, right? I bring real-time access to data, or I build incredible global teams, right? Or I solve complex problems, or I'm the leader that creates innovative cultures, right? So it can be a whole wide range of things, right? But having that courage to say, this is what my leadership is about. And with every decision, every interaction, right, how do you move that legacy forward? And if we're looking to the legacy for guidance, then we have to get over some of our normal, natural human ego things, or normal considerations that can come up. If we're looking to that legacy for guidance, we'll act more boldly. We'll be more courageous. And so, yeah, I mean, the kind of what I need to do and what I need to step through to live into my leadership legacy is going to look different than for you, Maureen, and for each and every leader. So it's kind of a hard concept to define, right? But having that courage to say what your leadership is about and stay committed to that day in, day out.
Again, it's also that everyone's vision and what they're standing for isn't, they're standing in their courage, and it is important and it is impactful, and whether that's just inside their home, outside their home, wherever that is, yes, it counts. And that's where the term courage came, that big word, that it all counts when you're standing in your leadership. And that's what I found so extraordinary about the terming that, and it's really, really, really beautiful. So let's go into the 4 pillars. And I have them here. So,
good.
and I love and again, it's starting with being authentic, but I'm going to let you do this because it's your book coming, and it's the 4, and it just hit me and just stood out for me. And yet it was also something that when you are working as a leader and you do have your vision or your legacy, that you're yeah, no, that's that. Yes, I'm all right. I'm there with that. So it's just, I loved all of it. So what's the 4 pillars?
Yes, the courage of a leader, 4 pillars. The first one, like you said, is the courage to be authentic, right? To not try to be someone else as a leader, but to really acknowledge, this is my style. These are my values. This is what I can bring with my leadership, right? And part of that is declaring your leadership legacy. The second pillar is the courage to say what needs to be said. And usually,
That's
Maureen,
a big one.
When I say that in groups, I get that reaction, right? People are nodding because we can all think of a time when a leader didn't step up and say what needed to be said or handle what needed to be addressed. Or we think of those moments when a leader did, right? And they took care of it. And it doesn't, and it also can mean editing ourselves, right? What needs to be said to serve the people and what we're looking to accomplish in this moment, right? And like you said, knowing that it's not about me, but it's what are we up to in this moment and what needs to be said to forward that. And that can often take courage.
It absolutely takes courage. I mean, just to stand with that is, and then you're also, so you're in like the C-suite model, and within that there's not always as much of this. It's coming through as business is evolving, but not only to say I don't need to meet that mold, which is being authentic, is huge, but then also to say I'm going to say what needs to be said to move the vision forward. Is just it's very dynamic. It's significant.
Well, and it can really take some intentionality, really even at that C level. For CEOs in particular, they step into that position, and if that company has a strong brand, a strong culture, right, there can be some figuring out there, like how do I bring my authentic leadership into this and be really well aligned with the company brand, the company culture, because you're the name and the face of the brand now as CEO.
And yet sometimes need to be making change.
Yeah, we can see it when that misalignment is there.
So number 3.
Number 3, the courage to trust the legacy. And that, of course, is your leadership legacy, right? And a few chapters there on, how do we look to that legacy for guidance? What does that look like day to day? And, set our own concerns aside. We know when we have a big commitment in life, we go above and beyond. And we do sometimes things that we don't really want to do in the moment, but in order to serve that bigger commitment.
And that's really, I mean, it's always about the vision. It's always about finding the vision. What do you want? What does that look like? And then everything else falls into place as you keep using the word intention. Once then everything, what your intentions will then, you have nowhere else to go once it comes to you.
Yeah. The book will contain some exercises because I like to be tangible, practical, and not just talk at the theoretic level, but how do we apply this in our lives? I think it's interesting to think about and look at examples of how someone has lived into their leadership legacy throughout their career, right? And you can see the different projects, the different initiatives that they were involved in that kept bringing that commitment, that vision, like you say, forward.
So are we in a culture that's accepting and having, because again, when we have those that may not have found transformation, and that there's ego and other things protecting them. This goes against. So is that C-suite, and I know it is changing in some with other amazing leaders that I've spoken to in that realm. And you're taking it over 2 decades. So where has the shift happen, and what does that look like for corporations?
Yeah, I think there's been some nice shifts in the marketplace and in how we think about and relate to leaders that have enabled leaders to step into their style, to step into their authentic leadership. I mean, part of that is, I think we're recognizing now that organizations go through different life cycles. Sometimes we're bringing people together. It's a gig economy now. Sometimes we're bringing people together for a finite period of time to accomplish something, right? I mean, I was speaking to a CFO the other day, and she wants to be involved in organizations when they're in a certain kind of growth. Right. And she is likely to spend the rest of her career looking for those situations. I think we also have realized that the old school autocratic, my way or the highway, just does not work. And the generations that are coming up and through the workforce now, they want leaders who are willing to admit mistakes, say what they know and don't know, say what they need help with, right? And really be vulnerable and transparent with their colleagues and teams.
The other thing too is that what you know today is going to be changing in about another 30 seconds. I mean, the amount of information is just insurmountable. So there needs to be that continually growing and allowing others to support you. You're just not going to get it done.
Well, yes, right? Yeah. And if I work with so many leaders, who just stepped into a new level of leadership, right? And the whole thing they need to work on for so many of them is letting go of some of what they used to do, stepping into more strategic planning, right? And then when they lift themselves up, it lifts everybody on the team up, right? Delegate, create some more ownership, right? You don't need to be the leader owning it all.
So within that, being that, and we're going to get to number 4, but being that they really are truly standing in courage, that where do they turn to sometimes say, okay, I'm not feeling so courageous today, and where do they go for support?
Yeah. Love if they have a leadership coach in their lives, right? Okay. A third party where they can just be completely authentic.
A place to go.
Yes. And sometimes if that's not a coaching relationship, it could be a mentoring relationship, and maybe somebody outside of your organization or your association, someone where you can, because sometimes the courage to say what needs to be said and the courage to edit, right? I mean, sometimes it's not going to serve the team to vomit all the concerns and all the personal struggles. Not that we don't want to be honest, right? Sometimes just all of that doesn't need to be shared to be most effective. So I love your question. Where do you go for that? Have some buddies, more than one, that you can go for that. Might be a coach, might be, a significant other, a mentor.
That's not always good though.
Oh,
right. So this is the shift to them, that someone that is, the leader everyone's turning to gets to turn to someone. This is also opening up what business looks like as they need support.
Yeah, where's your your
Yeah.
support, right? We've got to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
There's a chapter in the book about resilience, right? What are your
And
own?
I didn't read the book yet. Usually I'm in here already reading the book, but I can't wait. But all right. Yes.
You're getting your advanced copy soon. Yeah. We've got to have our own personal resilience practices, right? So we can be strong and energetic and be there to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And that nourishing, refueling, taking care of ourselves, it's part of the process, right? It's not something that we reward ourselves with once we get the project done.
And it's also, so this is becoming a thing that as C-suite and corporations are looking to not only to change internally, their external piece is often crucial to continue this development, such as having coach and having some what that aligns with their vision, but somewhere to go and to continue being supported.
And we see more wellness programs, more focus on mental health. I mean, that has really come to the forefront given the impacts of COVID-19, right? We need to take care of ourselves and the whole person, right? It is no longer as easy to compartmentalize the work and the home individual.
And it's not healthy.
Integrated, yeah.
So, okay, so now speaking of which, I need to, so the first piece I got to see was when I was reviewing your video for the speaker talent search. And from the first few seconds when you were talking, so, okay, we'll fill everyone in. And so that you have been and now are an Iron Woman, with your daughter following up behind you. And then this video was your, this was your legacy. This was something that you were committed to doing. And this was something you were determined that you felt you were not chosen. You've chosen, committed to do.
Called to me, yeah.
Called to do, exactly. Thank you. And there, it didn't go as well, and you can check it out on your website, which I can't. The first piece that, and I love the vulnerability and the authentic, and your courage in the first 30 seconds when you're sitting there saying, now you were again leader for support for all these other leaders, and that's what this is all about. And you're sitting there saying, as you cry into your husband, and you and going through this, and saying, great, you know what? I get to be authentic. I get to be me, and I don't have to be this, what everyone else is. I get to be, supported, and it just right from the very few words you had me. And I needed to tell you, I don't know if everyone saw it that way. And then of course you went into another 4 flat tires and you were going though. You were going, and so people need to. That's going to be another. They need to see that that speech, which is you. And by the way, you were an amazing speaker. I mean, I can't wait what that looks like, where that's going. As far as yes, and TED Talks. It's obviously in the future, and what that will be.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
No. So I'm just saying, so that was something that I wanted to tell you since almost our first conversation, that you stood in your courage the moment you stood on that stage and just allowed just people to speak. You were being you. And I just wanted to give you that. So you walk what you say, and you are very authentic, and I love your power. I love your courage.
Thank you. That's important to me. And in that story, I share in my keynote, sharing that message that when we're living into a commitment, that doesn't mean everything goes perfectly. I shared that moment. I was crumbling into a mess out on the bike course that day, right? And things went wrong, and it didn't unfold as I initially thought it was going to. And I kept the commitment. I kept going. And eventually there was the Ironman finish.
And I think this is business. This is life. The things that happen as you're living life, right? And we don't plan it, but we can stand in our leadership and continue to be courageous. So what's number 4? And then I want to bring in a little special somebody who's been waiting patiently.
Yeah, you might have heard him. The 4th pillar is the courage to be bold and create the extraordinary. So it's really, circles around what we've been talking about. Sometimes I see leaders who are super busy. They're doing stuff, but the results that are most important are not being generated, right? So allowing yourself to set aside the busyness, get out of the cynicism, right? There's a lot of talk tracks out there about how they're never going to get it. This can't be possible, right? There's negative self-talk that goes on in our own minds, right? How do we set that aside and believe and take the bold steps and think systemically, right? Like, what are all the levers that we have to push in order to make what we want to happen? So just going for it. And sometimes it's not easy, right?
And showing up again, dusting off, standing in the drift and saying, all right, I'm standing up again, and the courage to keep doing it. Because if you're in legacy, you have no choice.
Yes.
And that's
when you have that clarity about your leadership legacy and your commitment to it, it's clear, and it's going to keep calling you to go for it.
So what was okay, so let's bring on there's a new segment with the TV show that we're doing this year. So we've always done international best-selling authors and thoughts and just inspiring and usually having a thread of transformation through that. But now with COVID, and then it's really important to take the things that really make us happy, and it's simple things. And this is some things that I realized, and I love my pets. So now within this, and so you'll see there's a segment that I'm taking, actually it's Arnold Schwarzenegger with his donkey. Oh. Right. I mean, greatest leader, he takes him to the office. So that was right before this. And so, but you were a champ going through, but somebody's been trying to speak. Who's been trying to speak?
This is Fozzie Bear. He is 19 years old.
That's right.
I've had him almost as long as I've been working with leaders.
He's seen it all and what he can tell. Anyway, so how'd you get so now is that obviously from the Muppets?
Yeah, so it was a friend of mine whose cat was pregnant.
Oh.
And her husband named this guy Fozzie Bear. He was the fuzziest of the litter. His fur was sticking straight up. And he called him Fozzie Bear. And I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
And he was already being called that. Oh, now he's purring. He was already being called that. So I'm like, that's his name. We stick with that.
He's beautiful. His eyes are beautiful, so clear. So his coat, obviously he's treated quite well. So who does he?
I feel like all pets' lives have been prolonged because of the pandemic. We've all been home. This guy gets fed snacks all throughout the day. He gets love throughout the day. I'm sure it's prolonging his life.
Well, they don't, they're like, there was one that meme, like they're looking at when we get back to when the pets are during COVID going, this has been the best year yet, right? It's true.
I know, if we take it from their perspective, but not to invalidate how many are suffering financially, mentally, emotionally, but this guy's doing well.
Good. Well, I mean, you love him. So, okay. Who does he sleep with you?
Sometimes. And if he's not, then he's sleeping at the doorway.
Well, because it's a cat, right? So I have Italian greyhounds and a min pin a ton, so that we rescued. But dogs and cats are very different, right? Cats decide where they sleep. They don't sleep with you. They'll give you the privilege of sleeping next to you when they feel like it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how he often perches himself by a doorway or where he can see the comings and the goings.
So he's the leader in the house. He's making sure he's following everything that's going on and keeping abreast of the entire situation.
Mm-hmm. And if you sit down and put a blanket on your lap, he's there in moments.
Now, no other, and I mean, I know you have a son and a daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is your third child, obviously.
He's our first child, actually.
Oh, that's true. Yes. And how was that? Any when you were pregnant and any kind of like relationship, did he know, and how was that?
So it's actually an interesting story about change with Fozzie. So the first 6 years of when kids were around, the first 6 years of their lives, Fozzie had nothing to do with them. He would literally hide. And then when kids would go to bed, he'd come out and see me and my husband. Then there was a week where my in-laws came to the house to take care of the kids, take them to school and such. And my husband and I went on a trip.
Yay.
And I think Fozzie got, the kids stayed and the adults left. I need to change what I'm doing here. And Maureen, from that week on, he was completely different. He started coming around the kids. And my daughter's a little cat whisperer. She's so patient with him, let him, sniff her, was real gentle and slow with him. So he immediately took to her. Took a little bit longer with the unpredictable son. But now he's all over all of us. It was a complete 180. So when people tell me old dogs can't learn new tricks, I'm like, Fozzie Bear the cat operates completely differently now.
Well, do you think that he sensed that what the prime caregivers were not there, so he needed to step up? That's fascinating.
It's hypotheses. Yeah, it's my best guess. The kids are still here. The adults left. I got to change up what I'm doing.
I got to step up. Love it.
I got to let them in. I'm going to let him into here.
Yeah, yes, he needs to be what he needs.
Yes.
So we've talked, what's in store? And I'll be seeing you soon. What's in store for 2021 for you?
Yeah, obviously super excited about the launch of the book. Like I think you already said, March 3rd, 3/3 of 2021, The Courage of a Leader comes. Then I'm looking forward. I don't know if you can still hear him. I'm gonna let him out. And then, I'm looking forward to keynotes, speaking about the book, just getting the message out there that it's about personal courage to be a transformative leader.
And you embody everything that's in your book. And I'm very grateful to have you in the Alliance and to be able to meet and that's the best part of life. So
thank you. I feel the same.
So again, when the book comes back, we're going to get you back, because then we're going to have what the book.
Oh, terrific.
All right, good. All right, let's do it. Okay, again, first interview of the year, Amy Riley, Courage of a Leader, and March 3rd. But again, we will be having some updates on that, so I'm looking forward to it. And as always, you are extraordinary. Thank you for being on.
Maureen, can I make an offer?
Of course you can. Yes.
Yeah. So in the midst of writing the Courage of a Leader book, I squeezed in writing an ebook.
Because so many were that. Okay, tell us and get back. Go into that.
So many were asking me about how do you lead virtually? And part of me wants to say, courageous leadership is courageous leadership, right? Just keep doing what you do. But that's not a complete answer because our vehicle is different, right? For those that are working completely virtually now. So I put together some practical, tangible guidance around how to lead, sell, and succeed virtually.
Okay.
That's what the ebook is called. If you go out to courageofaleader.com, there's a products page, scroll down and you'll see a link there. You can get the PDF of the ebook for free.
Okay. And
I wanna
then they
pass
also
that
get to
along.
see that great video of your keynote.
Yeah,
which is
you can
fabulous too.
check that out while you're on the website. Yeah.
Okay, good. So again, it's courageofaleader.com, Amy Riley, and go get that ebook. And again, Happy New Year, and I will be seeing you soon. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thank you, Maureen.